Hello everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great day so far. Welcome to another video. This is a video about Demoscene productions from the year of 2022, focusing specifically on intros, which are anything below 64 kilobytes in file size. It's called an intro in the Demoscene. I already did a couple of videos focused on tiny intros, which is considered below 512 bytes. So this video is going to be specifically between 1 kilobyte and also 4 kilobytes, 8 kilobytes, 32 kilobytes, 40 kilobytes, up to 64 kilobytes. There haven't been that many 64 kilobytes this year. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm also very interested to see what the Meteorix Awards are going to pick for nominees this year. And I recorded this video before the Meteorix nominees, so hope my predictions will come forward. Anyways, a lot of entries to go over, so let's start with it. Starting off the year, we had a Wireforks by Arsenic for the Commodore 64, just a little Christmas introduction. Then we had troynoy, first entry, 4K by a new senior, relatively good for a first entry. My first entry was definitely a lot worse than this, so curious to see more entries from him. Then we had a competition for the intro creation competition. The competition is called the Intro Creation Competition for the Commodore 64. They had a 4K intro competition with a lot of different compos, and also actually I think this is the 1K, the single file competition, and then they also have the 4K competition with also a lot of interesting entries. So if you're a Commodore 64 fan, you have a lot of stuff to check out here. Then we had the BCC Party happening in Germany. Also for the Commodore 64, also had quite a few intro competitions. Fairland by Fairlight, it would open. Fairland, Deep in the Forest, Tanka Chat was relatively well ranked. Patchy Aquarium, so a few interesting stuff to check. Then we had a few out of Compo releases as well. Too Young from Unchained for MS-DOS, which is not very common to see nowadays. Good work by Asato. An entry for the Amiga 40K released at GURP by Desire, also got some good thumbs up. Then we had Revision 2022, which had a ton of different entries of different things. I'm gonna skip the 4K procedural graphics because I'm gonna do a video focused on just that. So I'm gonna talk about the Amiga intro competition. This one, where is the... Okay, here we go. Logic OS by Logicom. I think this will get nominated by the Meteorix. Had a very fresh take on the Demoscene usual standards or expectations, and got a lot of good positive feedback. Also, the usual entry by Software Failure. Ham always delivers something for Revision. Blood 4K by Appendix. Circle Undervoid, Not Yet Funk. So quite a few releases for the Amiga intro competition. We also had something for PC. Curiosity by Nuance, Elgor by Altervast, Cutting Edge by Neurolite, and Robarbic Factory. Very interesting releases, not that many. I was expecting more in this compo, but there also was a 4K compo at Revision in particular, which had a lot more entries. The old school intro competition had this very memorable entry by Oxygen and Overlanders. Second place for Chromatic Admiration for the C16. Also the Quatur for the ZX Spectrum was also quite memorable by Darklight and Offense. A few other entries for other platforms as well. Very good 4K old school intro competition overall. Revision always seems to have good old school presence. And here is the PC 4K that I was talking about, was won by LJ and Virgil. Very good intro. I think this one is also very likely to be nominated for a Meteorix Award. Pullback Effect by Leah was also very on point 4K. Blinking Blue, Gaia by Addict and Lamers, and a few other releases. So good compos overall. Revision always has tons of nice intro competitions. Moving on the Amiga, we had this very interesting 40K by KONEY called KETAMUSKOLAR, with very good hardcore music on it and very fitting visuals. Also got pretty good feedback, released outside of any competition. Impact by Joker at the Specky PL party was very good, a very strong 4K intro competition. Could have possibly rivaled the 4K compo at Revision itself. Very amazing entry. Plastic Dove by Abyss, mostly pre-tacker player in 8K for Amiga, just playing 4-channel tracks on the Amiga with this new player of Abyss, or a new version of the player. There was the Moonshine Dragons party happening in Poland, which also had a couple of intros, Scotch by Lethargy and Pursuit by Arise. Both of them are really high quality. Also Twist and Shout by Fate Design. Then we had at Foreign Data, you could find this 4K for the Amiga, Unicode Attack by Five Finger Punch. Then we had the QB Party happening in Hungary. Had a couple intros as well, Rebuild by Diffico, Abstract 1K by Abaddon, and a Lost 64K by Archie called Magic Cube, also found here. Nothing particularly overwhelming. At Shadow Party in France, we had this Genre Style du Coup by Flesh for the Atari VCS. Very interesting little intro, I quite enjoyed it. Árok Party back in Hungary also had a couple more intros, Spiritual, and a few things for old school. Árok is an old school demo competition. It's an old school demo party by definition, so a lot of Commodore 64, curiously some Spectrum stuff as well. Underground Conference happening in Germany, didn't have that many intros, only 2 on the combined 64K compo. I particularly like the winner one. They also had a 64K for the Amiga on combined old school demo and intro competition. This one is very high quality as well. Not sure if it will manage to get nominated for Meteorix, but I really enjoyed it. Moving on to Sommarhack, party dedicated to the Atari, quite a few intros as well. Monochrome competition in particular was really cool, or actually the competition had a lot of monochrome entries. Monotheist by SMFX was one of my favorites, but Monophilo by Tom also got a lot of high thumbs up. Nucleus by SMFX, also worth mentioning, is made for a very particular platform called the Portfolio. So yeah, which is the machine that was used in Terminator 2, or popularized on Terminator 2. And I think that's it for Sommarhack. Let's take a look at Black Valley that happened in Norway. Not many intros released here. Something for the NES and a couple small intros for Amiga and Windows. A lot of thumbs up for Waffles of Math Construction, as you can see, by Alcatraz and Desire. Not my personal favorite, but it is a pretty solid intro. So Metro by Yogi Sin and Be a Star by Loonies and Fnuk, 1K for the Amiga. And a Pastel by Ninja Dab with our usual fresh style. Then we had each hiker releasing a few things outside of compos, a 1K for the Amiga with some shade bops. Tomcat of Abaddon also released a 1K for JavaScript, testing some JavaScript ray tracing things. The Edison demo party happening in Sweden also had a couple of different intro competitions. Compo Phil for the Amiga, Code Not War for the ZX Spectrum, and on the PC intro competition, a couple weird productions, or psychedelic productions, Danger Donut, Lake Lurker by OJ, and Tas Templum by Tazadum. All of them pretty solid, but I don't think they will make the cut for nomination in terms of Meteorix. Then at Euskal Demo Party, they also had a lot of intros there. Mental Anarchy won the combined intro compo for the Android of all platforms, and some stuff for Amiga as well. The Wild demo for a very interesting platform as well. You can see it here. Not sure it will get nominated for anything, but it's very curious for the platform alone. Moving on, outside any compo, actually at High Coast Hack, there was this Sinclair QL 64K. Sinclair QL is not a very known platform to have new Demoscene releases on, so well done, speaker. And then at Evoke in Germany, we had quite a few compos as well. The alternative demo was very packed with a lot of good releases, and they had a few good intros in it as well. Done by Abyss 64K, Talking Heads also for the Amiga, so a couple nice Amiga intros. Also Primer by Architect was also released for the Amiga on this compo. There was a dedicated PC 4K competition, which was run by Stalbeton, by LJ and Virgil. Complete masterpiece, especially if you like brutalism sort of view. A lot of attention to detail. Also a very high candidate to a meteoric nomination, in my humble opinion. Special military operation by Epoch. Epoch has been doing a lot of good 4K stuff. This is just another one in their arsenal. I think they're going a long way, and I would not be surprised if this was nominated as well. Fantasy Escape by Nusan with music by Gino was also very on point, very well made. Just a small idea, but very well executed. I really much enjoyed it. Not sure if it would get nominated, but it's definitely worth a watch. Then Breitband Butter by Team 2010 and Copernicum, also a very nice little 4K there. And that's it in terms of Evoke. Outside of any compo, Hitchhiker's still releasing some stuff, but this time for the PlayStation Portable. The Space Between Our Ears 1 and 2 were released very similar, very small time frame between both of them. Proving that it is possible to do size coding stuff on the PlayStation Portable. Then we had the Silly Venture Summer Edition with a lot of entries. Party usually focused around the Atari. Always has a lot of tiny intro stuff. Etro here, for example, for 64K. Some 4Ks for the Atari STE as well. Here, Oxygen, Leonard of Oxygen doing Mecha Scroller record breaker. Think Harder by Rebels, 1 by Flush, so a lot of small little intros always released at Silly Venture. Silly Venture is one of the parties with highest number of releases per edition. Outside of any compo, we had Debris of Pulpo Corrosivo for Abstract CPC. Very tight little intro as well. Maybe worthy of a nomination, might squeeze in there. Then for the very elusive Vector 06C, we had Arzak of SVO released at the Undefined Party. Hoshikawa for the Commodore 64, also released outside of any compo, was also pretty solid little 8K for the Commodore 64. Floppy Rescue for the Atari VCS, another little intro also released outside of any compo. At Assembly Demo Party in Finland, we had a combined 4K intro compo with quite a few good entries. First by OO had a very interesting look. Veculan Disco got second place. Esland Valley looking for Alice, very creepy image there. Tragiziarix, Surrealismus, and Aloila. I'm not sure any of these will get nominated, but it's very cool that Assembly still has a very intense 4K competition happening. They also have a 1K compo, which was won by Vivid Pixels by Digimind. Also might be a contender for a nomination. M22 by Ribbon and 8-Bit was particularly intense. I also enjoyed it very much. I'm a bit of a sucker for JavaScript stuff. 1K Meripaiva as well got released. Happy Birthday and Marsh Critter. So yeah, Assembly representing on the tiny size competition things. Moving on to Xenium 2022, we also had quite a few releases in terms of size coding. 664 representing by Arise Design, Fate Design, a couple more releases here as well. And they had a PC intro competition, which was won by Altair and Alcatraz with a 8K production called Dream Machine. Knight Rider by Addict had this homage to old synthwave, and Sodium by K2 got third place. It's also Wild Demo here for the PlayStation Portable, probably Hitchhiker doing it again. Brainbox in a State, very nice. Oh yeah, Reco 7 also worth mentioning. It's a cover in a Spectrum, or actually a remake in Spectrum of a Commodore 64 demo, which in itself is a remake of a PC demo. So yeah, a lot of pre-calculation time, probably rendering some video stuff, but very well done. 8K for ZX Spectrum. Chimpbembly, a small Demoscene event in Finland, also had a couple of size-limited compos. Miami Blade by Tati Tool, and the Chimpbembly Party Scroller by the Chimpbembly Party Committee. Function 2022 also always has some intro competitions. There were a few things in the demo compo for the Amiga and for the ZX Spectrum. And then the intro competition itself, which was won by Dilemma, with this 8K called False 3. A couple more 4Ks which were also pretty solid. Not sure if they are worthy of being nominated, but let's see what the jury of Meteorix thinks. Also this 4K for the Raspberry Pico, also worth mentioning for its curiosity's sake in terms of platform. Over to Germany, Nordlicht 2022 also had quite a few interesting compo releases. Ruthenium by Alcatraz won the combined demo and intro compo, solid 4K. In 5th place, also another 4K Sierpinski. That's it for Nordlicht, but a very good release, as I mentioned, Ruthenium. Not sure if it would get nominated, but let's see. Then in Deadline, also in Germany, we had a couple more compos with some intro compos. PC4K had quite a few good entries. Fluorescence by LJ1, Team 210 got 2nd place. Epoch again, they're being very active, doing stuff for Linux. And yeah, and a few other small entries. Also a couple of entries released on the 3D compo, made specifically for 3D glasses. There was a fast demo challenge which featured the 4K soundtrack, so you could do 4K out of that. Music by Virgil. Here Virgil did something with his own music called Colorblind 4K, but then you see here LJ also took a stab at it. The theme was making a scene out of a cube, or making an intro out of a cube. So Ringbar also used that soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken. A few other entries also used it, but were not 4K in size. So curious if any of these stand a chance of being nominated as well. Then we have Flash Party in Argentina, which also had quite a few size coding stuff. A lot of old school things for the Commodore 64 and the Amiga. And then there was the 8K compo winner that won the combined PC demo competition, Future Flash by Latitude Independent Association. Very solid intro. Would expect this to get nominated, but let's see what the jury of Meteorix thinks. Also worth mentioning the Pico 1K Jam that happened, doing small intros for the Pico 8. It's on the borderline limit of being considered part of this video or part tiny. I also mentioned them on the tiny size coding stuff, but a lot of small intros and also some games listed here, so definitely check it out, especially if you like fantasy consoles and Pico 8. A lot of good entries. Then a few other entries outside of any compo. The Pixelated World for the Amiga. Then at D-Crunch in I think it's Sweden. Also a couple more intros. Intro 36K compo filler for the Amiga in particular is worth checking out. I'm wondering if it's really Sweden or not. Cafe Party in Russia also always has a lot of size coding stuff. Combined demo intro compo was won by this amazing 64K, or 32K actually, by Fox, also worthy of a nomination in my humble opinion. Just simple tube amplifier, very good sound synth in it, doing emulating guitar sounds in a 64K, 32K. Goblinish also did a ZX Spectrum 4K, you can see it here, and that's about it. So, oh yeah, it's a couple old school entries here, for the elusive Vector 06C. platform, both of them made by VCO or SVO. Then we had Arzak in Denmark, the Amiga intro compos won by River Snake, Copper Trouble by Fnuke got second place, and G Rowdy by Desire got a lot more votes, but it was a 32k. Yugasin also did a 4K, ended up on the animation compo by reasons that I'm not sure. And then the PC intro compo was won by Acid Glow by Loonies and Logicoma. Very solid intro, very good sound. I wasn't completely convinced on the visuals, but I can understand if it would end up getting nominated as well. Very solid production overall. Coconut Fin Sim also listed here. A couple entries missing from Poet, no one bothered adding them, so yeah, I might be missing a few here. Benediction Coding Party, an abstract CPC party, very small party happening in France. They had a few stuff for the CPC. Small size things. Inertia Demo Party, we had a 4K getting second place on the very crowded combined demo intro competition. Observer doing this massive 4K. I would highly hope, because I helped organize this party, so I'm biased obviously. I would very much hope to see this nominated for a Meteorix award. Very high attention to detail, a lot of things, and also the soft synth was very good considering everything is in JavaScript. Demo Splash happening in the United States also had a few tiny size intro compos, mostly for the Apple II, also an entry for MS-DOS, and something for the Atari VCS. Experience in the Hungary again had quite a few 4Ks for Windows, Demo Joe, Panning, and Miafas for the ZX Spectrum, and something for the Pico 8 as well. And then we have Transmission 64, Commodore 64 online demo party only. They had a 64 4K compo won by Lethargy, also something from Arise, and a few other intros. Very nice stuff overall. Moving on to Silly Venture, the winter edition of Silly Venture. Might be missing a few entries here, because I don't think the entries were properly released at scene.org yet, so some things might be missing from this listing here, but you can see a few things for the Atari VCS, for example, and for the Thompson. So interesting also to check out, mostly for old school platforms. Then we had Zenta Demo Party happening in Germany to close up the year. Eden Disorder by Epoch, very solid 4K. Not sure if it will be nominated, but let's see. And then Intimidate by Virgil and Team 210 also released at this party, and Spirit of Zenta for the KC platform, an old school platform. So yeah, these were the things from parties. There was also some out of party releases, Vector Boeing for the Vectrax, and Purple Vortex by the Unstoppable Hacker Punch 64K for the TIC 80 of all things. So yeah, these were all the entries that were released in terms of intros on the demo scene in the year of 2022. A lot of interesting entries. I'm very much curious to see what the Meteorix jury will pick for the intro competition award. And yeah, hope you found this video useful. All the links are on the description below, and there's also a playlist with all of the entries for as much YouTube videos that I could find ready for you to play if you enjoy watching Demoscene Intros from the year of 2022. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye everyone. Have a great day.